September 23, 1972. The Philippines woke up to a changed reality. Static on the radio, blank television screens, and eventually this headline. But history is more than ink on paper. To understand what really happened, we must examine both the content and the context of Proclamation Number 1081, the legal document that placed the Philippines under the martial law. What does the document actually say? Proclamation number 1081 was not just simple announcement. It was a 20-page document summarized in the Sunday Express edition, citing a state of rebellion. The justifications cites a conspiracy between the communist groups and right-wing elements to overthrow the government through violence and subversions. The mandate gave President Marcos the power to maintain law and order through the military. The promises pledged to save the republic and form a new society, suggesting civilian government function would continue. Immediate restrictions, curfew from 12 to 4 a.m., suspension of the writ of habeas corpus, the closures of school, media outlets, and the political gatherings. Now, therefore, I, Ferdinand E. Marcos, President of the Philippines, by virtue of the powers vested upon me by the Article 7, Section 10, Paragraph 2 of the Constitution, do hereby place the entire Philippines as defined in Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution under martial law, and in my capacity as their Commander-in-Chief, do hereby command the Armed Forces of the Philippines to maintain law and order throughout the Philippines, prevent or suppress all forms of lawless violence as well as any act of insurrection or rebellion, and to enforce obedience to all the laws and decrees, orders, and regulation promulgated by me personally or upon my direction. The primary author and signatory was President Ferdinand E. Marcos, while legal experts like Juan Ponce Enrile helped draft it. The document reflects Marcos' constitutional authority. The provenance, the Sunday Express issue date is September 24, 1972, as a secondary carrier of the original proclamation, which is kept in the National Archives and official gazettes. This newspaper is historically valuable because it shows how the government controlled the narrative the morning after the declaration.
I have not grab power, as some people would put it. In the first place, I was duly elected as president in 1969. If it is of any meaning at all, the Supreme Court has just sustained that decision of our people, indicating that the elections were clean and that the majority of almost 2 million indicated the will of the people. Secondly, the Constitution of the Philippines is an articulation of what the people desire. And in that Constitution is included the exercise by the President of the powers that I am exercising now under the conditions thereof. Those conditions are that there is the threat or there is invasion, insurrection, rebellion, or imminent danger thereof. This matter has been studied to a point where the Supreme Court, our own Supreme Court in the Philippines, in the case on which a decision was promulgated on December 11th, 1971, that there does exist a rebellion by another armed force other than the armed forces of the Philippines, of the government, which seeks to grab political authority by violence. Therefore, if there be a rebellion, and since the public safety requires it, the exercise of this power was declared valid, legitimate, and constitutional by our Supreme Court. In every rebellion that there is a second wave. And right now the rebels, the insurgents, are engaged in the regrouping, reorganizing, and remounting a rebellion. We have just apprehended, if you will remember, around Manila, the arms of the urban guerrillas.
Why was this produced? The key factors in 1972: the rise of insurgency, Communist Party of the Philippines CPP-NPA, and the Moro National Liberation Front MNLF activity. The social unrest, first quarter storm, intense student-led protests against economic crisis and government corruption. The political ambition: Marcos was nearing the end of his second and final term. Martial law allowed him to bypass term limits, which is the term more years than the usual president term that must have been. The Enrile ambush, used as immediate proof of the imminent danger of the state or to the state.
Discussion and debates is confined to the holding of public rallies or debates in a specific place or public plaza, and does not, repeat, and does not include the marching or holding demonstrations along the streets of the city.
Analyzing both the content and context reveals the Proclamation 1081 was more than the legal decree. It was a response to social unrest, framed as a necessity but used as a tool for absolute political control. Understanding the word shows us what happened. Understanding the context shows us why it happened. History is not just about reading the headlines. It is about reading between the lines and reflecting on the long-term consequences of power, governance, and civic responsibility.